Hello and welcome, my name is Amir, and in this video we're going to create the Wordle game in React. In Wordle game, the computer would select a 5-letter word and we should guess that word. So for example, if I say early, I would get R yellow, which means that the R exists in the final solution but the placement is wrong. So it might be something like Rocky. I get K and R, so R doesn't exist on first and doesn't exist on the third, so it might be somewhere else. So I would say something like break. Let me try something else like super. That was what I'm looking for. S is green, so S exists here in the final solution and I can go on, and obviously R is in here. So I should look for a word that starts with S and has R in the fourth letter of the word. Maybe supra, something like that. As you can see, S and R are correct. So let me try another and we will see what was the word. The word was a smirk. Okay, so let's go and start. I have my React app set up here. Okay, the first thing is that I like to have some words that I can choose from, like a word bank. And I will define it here as local, but you can go and grab it from internet from some API. So I would call this words.js, and it will include these letter words that I have here. Okay, I'm done with this one. Here in the app.js, I would import and use it. And I would have an state here to store my selected word or the solution. It's going to be state, and at first it's empty. And I can have a hook here to set the word for me that the component runs mounts, like so. But I want this thing that I'm writing here run in two occasions: when the game starts, and secondly when the game restarts, or when the game ends and the player wants to replay. So I will define a function, and that function will be called here select word, and it will just set the solution to be words at some index, some random index, and I can grab that random index by flooring a random number, which is basically from 0 to 1, and then multiply it by the length so that it goes from 0 to the length of the array, and the math.floor will do the rest, which is removing the floor part from the number that is created here, so it will become a whole number. So this needs to be a function, of course, and it should be called here. Great. To make sure I can see what is going on here in the solution, and I'm getting drain. If I refresh, every time there is a new word here. Okay, great. So step 1 is complete. Step 2 is just having the components being rendered here. I will call those components board and keyboard. So let's go and first start with board, and then we would have the keyboard as well. I would import them here. Need to define them here, of course, so I would go here and have a board.js and a keyboard.js. Let's say keyboard for now and export it. Have the same thing here for board. only like this. And if I go here, I see board and keyboard. Okay, great. So what is the board like? If I go to the New York Times and check the puzzle again, there are like 6 rows. So I need to get 6 rows, and for each row I need to have 5 spots for letters, so to say. Okay, so here I would define another state called guesses. This will include all the guesses as the user enters them. So if I enter early and press enter, that would be one of the guesses. Great, so this is done here, and this should be an array, new array of the, let's call it rows, because we might later want to expand the rows and say instead of 6 there are 5 or 10 or more or less rows. And then I would fill each of them with empty. I would define the rows up here for now to be 6. Great. And for the board I will pass along the guesses so that I can map them and show them here. So this is the guesses, and let's go to the board, grab it here and render it. So this will be of course a div board. So I would say the guesses, this should go into the curly brackets because I want to map on them, and each guess will provide a row for us to render. So I would call this map a row and a row index, like so. And each row will have the key of row index, and let's give it some class as well to be board row, like so. So I have the boards. If I go here and here and open the DevTools and go to the board, we can see that there are 6 rows here. Okay, great. Now we need to render cells for each row, and the cells will be like 5 of them. So here I will have an array of 5 that I will fill with nothing and then map them to some cell and some index, and each of them will be a div with the class name of board cell. And let's put a div here, and to make sure that it's being rendered, let's include the index here. Now if I go back, I will get an error. The field should be like this, like so. Okay, now if I go here, I can see 0 to 4, 0 to 4, 0 to 4, and 6 times. Great. Let's do some styling on this one. I can go to the app.css and I will have a board, a board row, and a board cell. The board should be flex, of course, and it should be set up on columns. Would give it some gap of, let's say, 10 pixels, and let's put it in the center as well. So justify content center and align items center as well. So something like this. Great. Let's go and check. Okay, they are in the correct spot. So board row will also needs to be a flex, and we should just put it in the center as well. Okay, so let's go to the board cell here. Let's give it some width. and some height and put it in the center. Center, align items center, and let's have the text to be like in uppercase. What was it, capitalized? Yes. And some border, 1 pix, solid, and what's the color that can go here? I think primary is fine. And var of primary. Okay, let's go and see. They are not in the center. They should have some gap in between them. So this should get a gap of 10 pix. This should get a border radius of let's say 7 pix, and it should go to the center. So this is center, like so. Okay, great. So I have the board part for now, and there is no need to like include 0 to 4. So let's go to the board and remove this part. Great. Now let's go and do something similar for the keyboard. If I look at the keyboard, there are 3 rows, and for each row we have some letters. I would include enter here and delete down here. So let's go and first create those rows. I would call it like rows here, and it will be P, and then another one for the second one, and another one for the third one. Let's add a minus here and a plus sign here. This will be converted to enter, and this will be converted to delete when I'm mapping through these. Okay, so just like the keyboard, which is a 6 row by 5 columns, we would have 3 row by variable columns here. So there will be 2 map going on here. Here I can have a div with the class name of, let's say, keyboard, and let's close it here. And here I can map on these rows, so I would say rows dot map, and it would give me 1 row and 1 row index. Then I can go and say for each row give me a div with the class name of let's say keyboard row, close it here, and now we need to map through these values, but this is a string, so we need to convert it to a array so that we can map on that. So I would say this current row should be splitted by nothing or empty string, and then I could map on that and say, let's say cell or key or letter, it's better to call it letter, and letter index or index, and this shall go to a div with some class name of, call it, let's say, keyboard letter, like so. Close it here, save it so that it's auto formatted using the prettier. Let me have the key here as well. Key should be here, it should be the letter index, and here it should be the, it's fine to be the row index, like so, and so. Great. Now this should include the letter for now. Let me go to the app and see. Yes, I'm getting all the letters here and the plus and the minus. So I would here say if letter is plus sign, then write enter, if it's the minus sign, then write delete, and otherwise just write the letter. Great, now I get the enter and delete, and now I need to style it. So let's go to the app. I would grab these ones and come down here and say these are keyboard, like so. All of them should be flex, and I think all of them shall go to the center, like so. Let's give some gap as well here, like 10 pixels. And let me give some width and height to this so that I know what's going on. And this should have the align items on the center as well. Okay, great. The direction on the here should be on column as well, so on column, correct. This is keyboard letter, not keyboard cell. Okay, they are in the correct spot, just need some border or some background. Let's call it background, and we give it the primary color as well. Okay, they need to have some gap as well, so gap of 10 pixels shall go here as well. Border radius should go here as well, 7 pixels as above, and this should be like a little bit apart from each other. So I would give this one a flex of, let's say, 1. Nice, so we have set up our board, and the only thing that we need to do, well, not the only thing, but the next step is just having a listener on the keystroke on keyboard, and then based on that put the letters into the rows here. So this is an effect that will run, and this use effect is dependent on some keystroke. So I will have a handle key down here which will grab an E, and for now it would just log the E, and I would have a document dot add event listener that would listen on the key down, and it will run the handle key down. Also, we need to return some function to clean up this. So I would copy and paste it here, and this shall be just remove event listener. So if I run this now and have my console open here, okay, I have missed some key somewhere in the board. Let me fix that one at first. Yeah, it's here. So key here is index, and here we have the key. Sorry for that. This can be underlined, and this can be underlined as well because they are not needed here. So if I go back, refresh, and everything is fine. Now if I start typing, like for example phone, I would get all the keystrokes here. The things that are imported to me are one, the key, which means which key has been pressed, and the key code. For now, let's suppose that we are only entering like letters here. So I would grab key code and key from the event, like so, and then I need to somehow set the current word that the user is typing. So let me call it current word, and I will have a state for that. So it will take the current word and it will add the letter that has been passed along to the uppercase, because the words that I have are in uppercase. I need to define this, of course, so I would have another state here for the current word and setting the current word, and it's an empty string in the beginning, like so. So if I go to the components here, to refresh, get my app, so as I type, you can see the current word is going on. So I can delete, which, you know, as you can see, is backspace being added to the state, and when I press enter, it should be gone into the guesses here. So the guesses should not change until I enter the enter key on the keyboard for the current word. So let's go and fix these issues here. First, if the key code is 8 and the user wants to delete something, we should check to see if the current word is empty or not. So for example, if I am here and if I press the backspace, while I don't have anything in this state, it shouldn't do anything. So if key code is 8 and the current word has some length, then the thing that we would do is have the set current word to remove the last character. So current word, and I believe it's current word dot slice from 0 to -1, so removing the last one. And then we need to return so that the rest of the function is not wrong. And we would have a case for the letters pressed. So I would say if the key code is bigger than or equal to 65 and at the same time it's smaller or equal to 90, then it has been a valid character, so it should be added to the current row. So this should be executed. I can type, and this is fine, but I can type as much as I want. So the next thing is that when the length of this is 5, I should not accept any characters but the backspace and enter. So let's have that one as well. So if if current word dot length is 5, I should accept only enter. So if key code is 5, check that. If the current letter is, the length is 5, check the key code and see. If the key code is not 13, then you should return and don't do anything. Which means that if the length is 5 and I press another key, it should return. It shouldn't do anything. Otherwise, this current word should go into the guesses. So set guesses. Okay, now we need to fill the guesses that we are currently in. So at the beginning I am at this index, so I need to know which index I am in, and when I press enter I should go to the next row. So this will lead me to have another state here for the current row, and this will be 0 in the beginning, and here based on the current row I can fill that row and leave the rest as they are. So I would grab the guesses and use the functional approach to this use state. By the way, if you're not familiar with use state or use effect or those hooks, I have a complete tutorial on those hooks. It's nice if you go and check those. So here I would map through the guesses and will get a guess and an index, and I will check. If the index is similar to the current row, which means that we are on the current row, then enter the current word to the guesses, otherwise leave the guesses alone. Yeah, I need to have a parenthesis here, like so. And I believe I need one more here. Great. And this should be guess, not guesses. Okay. So first I would set the guesses, then I need to reset the current word, empty string, and set the current row to one after that. So let's say current row is current row plus 1. I need to have the return here. Let me see, I need the return here as well. Okay, so this function looks okay, but as you can see, the use effect wants us to have a dependency, and this dependency is this handle key, because this handle key will change after each render, and we need to depend on that, so that we remove the listener and add it. But this will let the handle key down to be obsolete, created again, and this use effect will be running every time. But we would like to wrap this function, this whole function, into the use callback, so the reference is the same. So we can say use callback and then wrap the whole thing here and have some dependencies for that. And the dependencies are, I believe, one is the current word and the second one is the current row. These two shall go here. So current word and current word and current row. Now ESLint is also happy and it should work. So let's check it here, and I will explain it more to you. So I would say, let's say empty. It's working fine. I can press the backspace, empty, and after that I cannot type anymore. I can press enter. This will go to the state will become clear, and I will go to the next one. And if I type like, I don't know, liter, I can press enter and the game will go on. So what happened here is that this use effect shall be dependent on the handle key down to recreate the event listener every time the handle key down changes, and the handle key down will use the use callback so that it only be recreated when the current word or the current row are changing. Okay, great. So this is pretty much working now. Okay, now the thing that we need to check is to handle the win or lose situation. That will happen when the user presses the enter. So a guess is being added to the list. So I can have another effect that is dependent on the guesses, and here I can check that if the guesses at current row -1, because when the guesses change, the row will also change. Where was that? Here. When the guesses change, we change the row, and these are batched together, so they happen at the same time. So when we get to the guesses change, we would grab the last one and check that if that is the same as solution. In other words, the user has entered the correct answer and we have some solution, so this shouldn't run in the beginning. So in these cases we can say that for now console log that the user has won. If this is not correct and the current row is 5, so we get to the end, or in other words, current row is greater than 5, so we get past the total rows. So I can say rows minus 1, like so. Then we can say log that you lose. And while here we need to depend the whole thing on the current row and the solution as well. So current row and solution. Great. So now if I go here and do some cheat, the word is hoard, H-O-A-R-D. Go to the console and we won. If we say hoard again, enter, we won again. And we should continue playing some RRRR and TTTT, something like this, something like this, and we get to 6. I should see the you lose here as well. You lose. Okay, so we have the winning and losing situation here that we will cover later on with some modal or something. Next step is that the letters should appear here as we type on the current row. So for example, I have SUPER here as a guess, and we have passed that, and we are at this row, and this row will get the letters as the user types them. So basically the current word shall go here, and the rest of the rows will get the data from the guesses. And when I press enter, if I am in this row, when I press enter, the current row would go to the guesses and the row will be here, so this will be empty. Okay, so let's go and implement that in code. On the board, we obviously need to get the current row to know which row are we in, and also current word to know what is the current word. Let's pass those to the board, and here on the board, for each row that we have here, I would like to have a simple row component, because I don't want to mess here with checking if I should have the guess here or should I have the current word here. So I would have a row here, and this row will grab a word. That word can be either current word or the guess at that specific index. So if current row, that I need to have it here, if this current row is the same as the row index that we want to render, then the word is the current word. Otherwise, the word is the guesses at index, row index. Then I should grab this and remove. I need to have the row defined here, const row. It will get a word, and it should render something like this. This doesn't need to include this. The value that goes here is the word at the index. And if that letter is not existing, so for example the current word has like 2 letters, we can default that to empty string so that we don't get any error. So something like this, and this should hopefully work now. Okay, I have the word grim, and if I start typing like R, okay, I did something wrong. Yeah, this should be like this. And if I refresh and say empty, as I always do, then I would say ready. Great. Awesome. So yeah, you can see that we have these two letters and the current word is empty. And as I type, the current word will change. The next thing is that I need to get some colors for those. So for example, here the app has loopy, and if I have like lumpy and I press enter, I should get a green for the L because it's in the same spot and the correct letter, and then P and Y should also get green, and A and M should get gray because they are not correct and they are not in the right spot. So for this row, let me define an array of colors. So return this, and I will have a colors array, and this colors array will be in effect when the word is finished, because here I can get a word, a 5-letter word, but the user has not entered. So if I go here and say Q, 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 this row will get this letter, but it doesn't know if the user has pressed enter or not. And it should only colorize this row when the user has pressed enter on this row. So I need a it's finished or something like that to be passed here, and that is finished can be set when the current row is greater than the row index. So if we pass that row index, then we know that the word is finished. And for the rest of them, the word is not finished. So these colors now will check if the word is finished, then it should get some colors that we will define. Not this, but this. And otherwise, the colors are empty. So I would say new array of 5 and then fill it with nothing. Let me define the get colors here as well. So for now, let's say new array of 5 and still fill with nothing. And these colors shall go here when we render. So string literal with the board serve for all of them, and then the colors at index of idx shall go here, like so. Now let me figure out how can I get the colors for the words. So here, the first is that I would check to see if the letter, if the word at index that we want is the same as the solution as at the index that we want. I need to have an array. So I would call it return or result maybe. Result is a better. And I would grab that by converting this solution to be splitted by this. And I'm getting the solution. I will work on that one because solution is always a 5-letter word. So I need to pass along the solution to here and also the word, because the things that I'm going to check on are these two words. So I need to pass the solution and the word here, and of course solution shall be passed to this function and be received by this, passed along here as well, and the app should provide it as well. So solution is like so. And here in the result, which will be split of the solution, so I will get an array. Now first I would check for the green. So for let's say I, going from 0 until solution.length or word.length, we can check and say if the word at index I is the same as the result at index I, the result is the solution as this, they are the same. If this is this, then I need to change the result to be the green color at that index. Result at that index should be green. Or better, I would call this star and then I would map based on that. So like this. And then here I can return the result. So let's see if I go and cheat again, delve. So I would say del like so, and I should get 3 greens. If I go to the first row in the elements here, and here, this one will get star, this will get a star, this will get star, and these two will get the letters that they are. So this part is done, the green part is done. Okay, so in the next part we need to grab the yellow ones. We would have another for loop, and here we would check that if the say solution.length, we would grab the index of the letter. So again I would say int is the result dot index of the letter that we are looking at, which is word at index I. Now if that index exists, which will be like bigger than -1, then in this case we would set the result at that index to be this time, let's say plus, and then we would map these values. I believe this is the correct way to do it. So in the end I can return the result and then map it based on each letter, and I would say if the letter is like the star, then it's the correct. So let me see here. For the colors we have correct, semicolon, and wrong. So let me grab these. I would return correct here. If the letter is plus, then I would return the semi-correct here, and otherwise we would return the wrong here. And I don't need to return the result. So let me go and check it in one go. So if I go here and the word is swirl, so let's say WS and then TTT. What did I get? Correct. Semi-correct and semi-correct, which is correct. And then for the rest are the wrong ones. Then here if I say S and then SSSS, I should only get one green. Correct. And let's say L, RSWI. I should get 5 semi-corrects, so it's working correct. I should only now map these, provide the rules for this in the CSS. So these the things that I have here, I would have them here, and then I can say copy this, and these are having the background of that color. I can remove this and this, and this should be fine. Great. Okay, so we did this part. The next part is to have the same thing here. So for now we should color S as green because we found it, and the L, R, W and I here should be yellow. So on the keyboard I need to get the letters that the user has pressed. So for example here they have pressed W, S, T and then L, R and W and I. So these are the letters that the user has pressed. So I should keep track of these and provide them here. So I need another state here for letters. And this will be an empty string. And as it gets changed, we would add these letters to the list of the letters that we have. So here I can say set the letters to a, let's grab the letters and say merge the letters that I currently have with the current word that the user has entered when they press the enter on the keyboard. So I will have a merge function that will merge the letters with the current word, and this will be very simple. So let's say merge, we'll grab the letters and the word, and basically I should add the word to these letters and then remove the duplicates. So I can say return letters plus the word, create a set from this so that the duplicates are gone, like so, and this will be a set. So get an array from this, so array from this set, and then join it by empty string so it becomes a string again. Okay, and then I need to give the letters to the keyboard, and of course the solution so that I can figure out which letter is correct or not. So let's go here, grab the solution and the letters. So here I will have another string literal, so these keyboard letters like so, and then I would say that get color of the letter and the solution, and I need to define it here. So get color, sorry, it will get the letter and the solution. So if the letter is in solution, so we would grab the index of the letter in the solution, so solution dot So if this does not exist, then the color is wrong. So we return wrong. Otherwise, we should check to see if they have already placed it in the right spot or not. So we would grab the guesses, which should be going here. So if guesses dot find, if on any of the guesses we could find a guess where the index of that guess is the same as the letter, then we should return correct. Otherwise, we should return semi-correct, like so. So let me put the guesses here as well. Letter, solution, and guesses. Solution, letter, and guesses, and the guesses shall go here as well. And of course here. So guesses is the guesses. Okay, if I go here, you can see that this is doing it wrong. So here I should only check this if the letter is already on the letters. So the letters, if it includes the letter, then do that. Otherwise, we don't need to even go to the colors. So here the word is very. So if I say W, A, and D, I should get 3 greens here and 1 D, which is wrong. Now if I say like E, A, E, W, and then R, R, this time A is yellow, but we should show it green here because they have already guessed it here. So this is working great. And this shows the user that they should have W in the first, E on the second, A on the third, and R on the fourth, and they should guess the last letter here. Great, we're almost done with this keyboard and also with the app. I say almost because we need to have the game end like modal or something for that. So here I will have a game status or status, and then we would set that this will be empty, which means that the game is going on. Then I need to have a modal for the end of the game. So somewhere like here I would have a modal that will have 2 things. It would say game status, that will be based on the game status that we have. It could also get the solution to show it to the user that what the solution was. And we could also have a handle game reset being passed here when the game resets. So it gets this. Let me have it defined here as well. Go here, define a modal.js. Okay, we need to define this function as well. So for now I would just say that const handle game set does nothing, and let's define it like up above here, and this model should be open when the game ends. So here and here, instead of logging, we can set the game status to this, and this should be you lost. And also here we can open the modal. So in order to do that, we would have a ref that will be passed to the modal, and then we can open it. So we would say ref for now dot current dot open modal, and this open modal will be defined on the modal itself. So we need to have a ref here, is use ref, like so. We need to pass the ref here as well, so ref is the ref. Before going into the model, let me write the handle game reset as well, and then we can do the stuff there. So when the game resets, we need to select the word again. We need to reset the guesses to be again a new array of the size rows, and then filled with nothing. We need to set the current row to 0. We need to set the current word to nothing again. We need to reset the letters as the user has typed to nothing, and we need to reset the game status to empty string. Okay, great. The only thing is to write this modal that will be run when the game ends. So let's go to the modal here. We can use the ref that has been passed here. So modal will get some props and then the ref, like so. And in the end, as we are using the ref, we can say for default forward ref of the modal. And instead of these props, I can get them. So it was, so what were they? They were these values. So I would grab them and have them here, like so. Great. Now let's write the function. This will have a open state, so let's say open modal, and then set open modal. This is always, at least in the beginning, it's false. To return some JSX, let's say div class name of, it will have a backdrop, and it could have a modal inside. This modal can say like game status, did you win or not? And two more things. It can say the word was, and then the solution, and here it can say a button to restart the game. So button on click, that will do something, and let's say play again, like so. And here we should close the modal and reset the game. So let's say on close, and here on close can be a function which will reset the modal to false and run this function. Great. Now how can we set the state on this from this? we should have the use imperative handle. If you're not familiar, check the video series that I have on the hooks on React. So this will get a ref and a callback function, and this callback function will return an object. We would like to pass the open modal to it, and that should be set open modal to true, like so. So basically we are, based on the ref, we are providing a object here that can be triggered from the app that is providing the ref here. So if I go to the app, I'm using it here, ref.current.openModal, and this is basically this. And here I should check if the modal is not open, then do not render it. So if not open modal, then just return null. Okay, great, let's go here. The word is death, and I get the U1. If I play again, everything works. The only thing is that I need to style this modal. So let's go and do that, then we are done. Backdrop, this shall be a position of fixed or absolute. Let's go with absolute. Left is 0, top is 0, right is 0, and bottom is 0 as well. It should have a background color of some dark color, let's say RGBA of like 150, 150, 150, and let's say 0.6 or 0.7. It should have a flex so that the modal goes inside it. Justify content to the center and align items to the center so that the modal goes into the center. And the next thing is the modal itself. Let's say it have a width of 40%, the height of 25%. Let's say the background is white. Let's have some padding and some border radius of, let's say, 30 pixels. And yeah, let's see how it looks. Okay, it can go to the center. So text align is center. Display is not block but flex. Justify content center. Flex direction should set to column. Great. Let's have this as space around. Much better. Let's give it some shadow as well. So box shadow of 0, 0, and then 10 pixels, and then 10 pixels, and something like this, maybe a little bit too high, so maybe this should be 0. Okay, I'm happy with that. Now the button, let's say button now will get a padding of 20 and the B radius of let's say 10 pixels. The BG color can be let's have the semi-dark here, semi-correct here, and the cursor should be pointer. Okay, something like this. We can also have some width for that, let's say 100 pixels, and the align items on this one Okay, let's remove the width. Great. Now this is fun. Let's go and play again. L. Well, so the last thing is that we need to just remove the solution so they don't see it. Awesome. Thank you for watching. I hope you have enjoyed the video and see you in the next one.